Why Zach Roloff is finally leaving Little People, Big World, is the show over? Little People, Big World star Zach Roloff and his wife, Tori Roloff, have announced they'll be leaving the series, which has led many viewers to wonder why they're parting ways with the show. Zach, who has been a part of the Little People, Big World cast since the series' debut, and his wife Tori have spent the last several years building their family while battling health issues and dealing with difficulty within their extended family. Zach is the last of the Roloff siblings on the series, with their parents, Matt Roloff and Amy Roloff, who have been divorced since 2016. Zach's siblings, his twin Jeremy Roloff, Jacob Roloff, and Molly Roloff, have all separated from Little People, Big World over the years. While some of the siblings simply left the spotlight entirely, others, like Jeremy and his wife, Audrey Roloff, have simply separated from the series, but maintained their own presence on social media. For Zach, who is estranged from his twin brother, making the decision to leave the series he's been starring in with his family for nearly 20 years was a difficult one. Zach and Tori didn't make their decision lightly and have spoken out about what's next. Although Zach and Tori's 3 children have been used to the crew of Little People, Big World in their lives, the couple shared on their podcast Raising Heights that the show was starting to become too much for their family. Sharing that their children were beginning to become very aware of the cameras, Zach and Tori explained that they weren't comfortable with how it was impacting their lives. The Roloff kids, Jackson, Lila, and Joza, have all been heavily involved in Little People, Big World in the last several seasons, even in the most difficult moments of their young lives. Zach and Tori explained on Raising Heights that their son Jackson, who is 7 years old, has expressed the most issue with the crew of Little People, Big World being in their lives. Dealing with dwarfism has required some major patience and faith in medical professionals for the Roloffs, and with all 3 of their children having been diagnosed, Zach and Tori shared that Jackson was beginning to feel uncomfortable with the crew being at his medical appointments. The couple shared that Jackson speaking up about his feelings led them to reevaluate what exactly they felt comfortable with, as well. Little People, Big World has been on the air for nearly 2 decades, and though Zach's family has signed up to be on the series for such a long stretch of time, it's clear that it wasn't their intention to do so initially. When Little People, Big World began, it wasn't clear if the series would be a hit. The show itself has become one of the biggest on its network, but the family were signing up to share more about their lives, not to put their drama front and center. While Zach has been on reality TV for nearly 20 years of his life, it hasn't always been his decision to stay there. Now that he has a family of his own, it's clear that Zach has other priorities that are pushing him away from being so tremendously public about his life. Zach and Tori shared that they're hopeful they can fade into the background a bit after leaving Little People, Big World, so that their kids can grow up with the same sense of anonymity they did. Zach shared that he's been dealing with some newfound medical issues, which have made it tough to film the series. While Zach has had medical problems throughout the run of Little People, Big World simply due to his dwarfism, there have been other issues he's been facing in the last several years that have made it tough for him to focus on more than his health and his kids. With Little People, Big World Season 25 delving into Zach's health issues, it may become more clear as to why he's taking time away from the show as the season continues. Throughout their time on Little People, Big World, the Roloff family's issues have been blown out of proportion and made into larger-than-life problems. According to Zach and Tori, part of their reason for wanting to leave the series has to do with the fact that they're tired of dealing with the drama that comes from being part of the show. For years, the narrative surrounding the Roloff family has had to do with their farm, which was originally owned by Matt and Amy. After their split, the drama of who would be getting the farm turned into a family affair. Turning into countless arguments, the Roloffs are subjected to every angle possible of who will be getting the farm, when and why. Though the farm is a big deal, Zach and Tori explained that they're tired of the narrative the show has laid out. They shared that while the production of the series has been holding on the farm story, the family has been more communicative about what's been happening. Zach and fans have not been happy about Amy's beau Chris. The couple is still going strong. In fact, they tied the knot at Roloff Farms on August 28, 2021, and are still very much together today. Meanwhile, Matt is currently dating former Roloff Farms manager Karen Chandler. Chris was born on August 10, 1962, which means he's currently 59. Meanwhile, Amy was born on September 17, 1964, making her 57. The pair were married for nearly 30 years when they made the announcement that they would be splitting up. After 27 years of marriage, it is with great sadness that we have come to the difficult decision to file for divorce. We are proud of what we have accomplished together, including raising our 4 wonderful children, who have grown to become remarkable adults, and building our strong and ongoing successful businesses, the statement read. Though Matt and Amy never officially confirmed that their relationship ended due to infidelity, it has been hinted at in numerous interviews. Matt has been dating Karen, who also happens to be the farm manager at Roloff Farms, and Amy has admitted to feeling awkward about working alongside her ex-husband, and the TLC reality star, also hinted that Karen may have played a role in Amy's failed marriage after telling cameras during a solo interview, "Having to interact with Karen about this, I have to take a little moment to process this. It will always be difficult for me. It takes everything I have not to bring up that past baggage and apply what's happening now." Matt has also hinted that his relationship started with Karen before the ink dried on his divorce. "Amy and I grew apart, and I never thought in my wildest dreams I'd be divorced in this stage in my life. And Karen went through a divorce," he said. "So I think we just sort of realized, wow, a person that I care about is right under my nose. And suddenly it's very sort of different. And Karen is a super amazing companion. That her kids would never do that, sell the farms, and she would be flabbergasted if they ever did. Moreover, Amy was sure her children would not take such a step and would bet her life on it." When Amy and Matt Roloff were married, they agreed on passing the Roloff Farms to their children. Initially, the patriarch had purchased the property as a temporary investment. However, it became one of the permanent memories of the Roloffs. Things changed with time as Matt decided to sell the farms and make money from it. His sons, Zach and Jeremy, also tried buying it, but they could not due to the high price. Matt refused to sell it to Zach as the price he offered was lower than the market price. Matt's decision to sell the land was not welcomed and appreciated by anyone in the family. Along with that, the refusal to give the farms to his kids was another shock. This created a huge gap between Zach and his father, Matt, and they have been on lesser talking terms since then. However, irrespective of the opinions and fights, the Roloff farm is a rental property now. Airdom has turned the house where the family lived into a typical rental property. Nobody in the market was ready to buy the $4 million Roloff Farms. Hence, the patriarch used it as a rental space. The matter becomes more sensitive to Amy since she used to own a part of the land, which people say Matt manipulated her to sell to him. Amy Roloff tears up over marital dispute, with Chrisamy Roloff teared up while sharing a traumatic moment from her childhood that has affected her marriage with Marek. The recent episode of Little People, Big World saw Amy Roloff debate with her husband, Chris, 60, on where to plant her new garden. While discussing the plan, Chris tells his wife, "I thought it was clear," but Amy responds, "No, don't assume that. It wasn't clear to me." She continues to say while pointing to where her garden will be, "We're looking at this differently, and words and comprehension is different." He tried to de-escalate the argument, but Amy snapped back at him. "Well, just be patient. So what if I didn't get it?" In the confessional, Chris stated, "In my mind, I feel like I'm explaining it very well, very logically, and it makes sense. No argument needed, and sometimes I get a little frustrated because Amy's not catching on. When Chris emphasizes how much he has to explain things to his wife, he makes it worse. Amy says, "See, we can still work together, babe," while at the garden spot, and Marek responds, "I just have to hammer it out." Amy says, "You can't think about it like that." Chris clarifies, "That's a business term, it's an expression," adding, "Don't get so offended in me, then confessed. I am sensitive to that. You're right. I think it has a lot to do with trying to be so careful about my image and how people look at me throughout my whole life." She added, "Because all it takes is one little thing and poof, you're dismissed." During her own confessional, Amy confesses that Chris might say something innocent, but to her, it is, "What are you doing?" The reality star also revealed that she has a tendency to be oversensitive because while growing up, she tried to fit in and meet other people's expectations. Those elements, I know, definitely came into my marriage with Matt. There was a lot where I didn't feel as supported or encouraged, and when you have that a little bit over time, it can deflate you. Later on, when Chris and Amy discuss their argument, he admits that early on in their relationship, he had to push her to talk about some stuff. Amy then interjects, "I think part of me struggled internally. I was also afraid that if I didn't say something right, he'd be walking out the door." The cameras then show Amy fighting back tears as she opens up about her childhood. "There are moments that go back to my childhood. I'm just glad he thinks I'm good enough," she says. Chris then leans over to his wife and whispers, "More than good." Chris Marek says, "The next season will likely be the last ever Little People Big World has become a huge hit after it began airing in 2006. It is proudly one of the longest-running reality shows on TLC yet. However, the Roloffs, who were once former a happy family, don't go along anymore. It all began when Matt and Amy got their divorce after 27 years of being together. Later, their kids Jeremy, Jacob, and Molly also left LPBO. As it has been 16 years since the show has been, Journey expanded to include the arrival of their 3 children. Filming with children is difficult, and it was only a matter of time before Zach and Tori decided it was too much. During a recent episode of Zach and Tori's podcast, Raising Heights, Tori proclaimed, "We are done. That part of our lives, that chapter has closed." During the same episode, Tori also referenced recent family conflict, saying, "I do feel like it was also time for us to move on because I didn't want, personally, to hate your family." The only surprise is that it took so long for all the family drama to drive Zach and Tori off the show. During the same podcast episode, Zach and Tori discussed not wanting to put pressure on their children to appear on the show, which would complicate filming. The Little People, Big World couple talked about how difficult it is to film with children, and Tori noted that Jackson, their firstborn son, had already started expressing not wanting to be involved with filming. Despite a recent episode of Little People, Big World Season 25 that showed Zach and the kids having fun on scooters in the house, it's not always fun and games when filming with children. As their kids got older, it should have been obvious that the family couldn't keep appearing on the show for very long. That being said, Zach and Tori made it clear that they do not blame their kids for their decision not to continue with the show. Despite Zach and Tori's various issues with filming the show, including Zach's feud with his father, Matt, the couple also acknowledged what they liked about filming the show, including the fun experiences they've had, the people they met along the way, and the privileges they've received as a result of being reality TV stars. Since they have positive feelings about working on the show, the couple could return to Little People, Big World at some point in the future. However, it won't happen until Zach and Matt work through their feud. Why Little People? Big World fans can't stand Zach Roloff. Zach Roloff is one of the most recognized stars of Little People, Big World, but there are several reasons why fans don't consider him to be their favorite cast member. The long-running TLC series has followed Amy and Matt Roloff's family since 2006 and has captured some of the gang's biggest moments, including Zach and Tori Roloff's wedding, Amy and Matt's divorce, and, of course, how the Roloffs navigate their lives living with dwarfism. While Zach and Tori are still featured on Little People, Big World, Zach's 3 siblings, twin Jeremy, Molly, and Jacob, have established lives outside of reality TV and have no plans to reappear on the series. Now on Little People, Big World Season 23, the current drama on the show revolves around the fate of the Roloff farm and pumpkin patch located near Portland, Oregon. While Zach has made his interest in owning the farm abundantly clear, price negotiations between Zach and Matt quickly fell apart on the show, and the Roloff farm is still listed at $4 million online. Now 31 years old, Zach's life has changed tremendously since he first appeared on TLC as a teenager. Unfortunately, viewers' negative reactions to Zach have only grown over time. Here are some of the biggest reasons why Little People, Big World fans can't stand watching Zach on the series. As the oldest of the Roloff children, fans have long thought that Zach and Jeremy have been given more attention than Molly and Jacob, with Zach specifically called out for being spoiled by Amy. From never having a full-time job to barely cooking and cleaning, viewers have been calling out Zach's entitled behavior since Little People, Big World Season 23 began airing criticized Zach for trying to control the farm negotiations by calling him a whiny entitled little spoiled brat. Since Amy was overprotective of Zach during the early seasons of Little People, Big World, fans think that Zach has grown into a lazy adult based on his difficulty with relatively simple tasks. Redditors recently called out Zach and Tori while they were preparing to move to Washington for being unprepared and complicated. How freaking clueless is Zach to have his giant dog running around and blocking the movers when they were trying to pack up the house wrote, with several other fans agreeing. While Matt and Amy are far from perfect, fans particularly dislike how Zach tries to manipulate his parents with his children. One person wrote that they hated Zach following his failed negotiation with Matt after Zach admitted, "My dad is going to have to put in more effort if he wants to see the kids." Several users have criticized Zach for using his 5-year-old son Jackson to tell Matt their family was moving to Washington, while others have argued that if they were in Matt's position, running, viewers often wonder if it will end soon. It turns out that Marek had something to say about this. Keep reading to know more about this Little People Big World started its journey on TLC with a lot of heart and soul. Matt and Amy, as a married couple, raised a lot of awareness about dwarfism and proudly proved that your size can't restrict you from achieving great things. However, things aren't the same anymore. Most of Matt's kids aren't on good terms with him. He is also focusing on his retirement and has put a part of the farm on sale instead of giving it to one of the kids. Therefore, the LPBW viewers wonder if the show will come to an end in the near future. A Redditor pointed out that Amy Roloff is sharing a lot of cooking videos on her social media, so they felt that